Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as Non-Classics. This is episode number 1103 and Doubleshot 997. Just 3 more double shots to get to my 1000 double shot. Okay, got 2 DC trades, both involving the JSA. Yep. First up, it is Justice Society of America, Volume 1, The Next Age. This collects the first 4 issues of Justice Society of America, Volume 3. Now, in this book, we have some... Now, after the events of Crisis Infinite, we have sort of rebirth for JSA. Basically, new roster. Well, most of the same, anyways, minus Hawkgirl. Yeah, who you see in the cover is pretty much on the roster. The only one who actually is not is Jericho Thunder. Yeah, he is not on this roster. Nope. He is nowhere in these issues. You see, here are the new members. We have Starman from the League of Superheroes. Yep. You wonder who that redhead is next to the Golden Age Flash? That is Cyclone. Maxine Hankel, the granddaughter of Ma Hinkle, the original Red Tornado and the caretaker of the JSA Museum. We also have, let's see, a new Mr. America. He does run a little bit later. The original one gets killed in the opening issue. Also, the previous Sandy, who had the powers of Sandman, well, actually, this is Sandy Hawkerson, the nephew of Dana Beaumont, Wesley Dodds' lover's nephew. That's who this guy is. Yeah, his lover, this is his nephew, took over the role of the Sandman. Yep, he took over the role of Sandman, and he was Sandman up until the Flashpoint reboot. Yep, he was Sandman for 5 years. Yep, 5 years. We have Jeff Johns back on the writing for the JSA. He basically didn't do the final arc for the JSA book. That was a completely different writer. He actually left about issue, I think it was like 74, I think it was. Yeah, during the last arc, he had nothing to do with it. That was a completely different writer. Yep. Of course, Stargirl's back on the team. They mentioned what happened at the start of the original JSA run. Well, the one that James Robertson started. Where they mentioned that when she joined the JSA, Wesley Dawes was murdered on the same day she joined the JSA. And of course, well, people were not very happy when she first joined the JSA. And this whole Next Age thing. Also, we have Power Girl on the roster from the start, and she's named the Chairwoman, despite the fact in the previous volume it was Mr. Terrific. Yep. There's one other new member who pops up in here. We have Tom. Yes, this guy. He is the son of the original Wildcat. He is technically the third Wildcat because the second one was Wildcat's goddaughter. If you wonder what happened to her, she was killed in Eclipso number 13, back in the early 90s, along with a bunch of other superheroes who basically were sent by the United States government to invade a South American country to take down Eclipso. All but, with the exception of the Creeper, all were killed. Every single one of them. Yeah, somehow the Creeper managed to survive that. Somehow, he's freaking insane. Also, I should point out, though, about Starman. Yeah, what is his whole purpose behind the team? Well, up until the Kingdom Come stuff, his whole purpose is to set up the next step related to DC Universe. Like in this book, and it's even expanded upon this book here in the book I'm talking about, where he mentions stuff like 52 other Earths, a Kingdom Come. Yep, one thing Jeff Johns that is fantastic at is setting up stuff for later. He plants the seeds here for pretty much his whole run for this particular book. A run that's not very long, surprisingly. He leaves after issue 26. Yeah, they have like 3 writers in this book. I think it's like just overall 2. Yeah, the person who took over after him was Mark Guggenheim. Yep, one of the guys who wrote Arrow. Well, actually, one of the guys who created Arrow. Yeah, in case you're wondering about where he's not on the cover here, who does this cover? Why, this is Alex Ross. We also have an edition of Liberty Bell, a.k.a. formerly Jessie Quick, the daughter of Johnny Quick and the original Liberty Bell and the second Hour Man. Yeah, they're both part of the roster. And they're married. Yep, they're officially married. Now, this relationship was put together by Jeff Johns himself. Yes, he put these two together, and they stayed together. up into the Flash reboot, which is quite something. Yeah, this is something quite interesting though. When Jeff Johns says the relationship in his book, it doesn't get ignored by other writers. For Bob Michael Bendis, with the exception of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, all the rest of the couples he tried to help set up, guess what? Other writers ignore it. Isn't that quite weird? When it comes to these two writers, two really big names, yeah, apparently Jeff Johns can set a whole bunch of relationships and nobody has a problem with it. But Bendis, with the exception of one, everybody else is just completely ignored by everybody else. Now, one of the most coolest things about this storyline is that this is the new Wildcat gets a chance to get into a brawl with frickin' Vandal Savage. And he knows, like, hey, you're Vandal Savage, the caveman. He's like, I'm not a caveman. And he proceeds to basically brawl in his apartment. And he also, like, doesn't battle in the street until he's saved by, well, not by his father. He's helped with his father, and of course, well, now, also we have joined the team. You're probably thinking, who was the guy with the mask? That is formerly Damaged. That's Nuke, the son of the original Atom. Yeah, in case you wondering why he's wearing a mask, despite the fact if you had read his previous appearances prior to that, he never wore a mask. The reason why he's wearing a mask, though, by the way, this does get fixed in Dark Kingdom Come, is because the second Reverse Flash messed up his face. That's the reason why. And there's mention about his college stuff a little later. I'll get to that in a minute. Oh yeah, and Vandal Savage, what's the story for this one? Killing off the bloodlines of the JSA. Like, they kill off a bunch of villains heroes I've heard before. Like, they even tried to go after Stripesy and the original Liberty Bell. Lucky enough they're safe with the JSA, and apparently they found sort of like a bunch of neo-Nazis. I thought this was interesting. Like, who are you, Baron Blitzkrieg? He's like, no. She's like, no, Baroness. And he's like, no, you're not. Yep. It's like, lady, I fought Nazis myself, and you are no Nazi. Yep, that's the JSA for you. Pure fun of a story, great, and set up for stuff for later. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic. I know my friend Tivia, if he read these books, he would definitely agree. These books are fantastic. This is Jeff frickin' Johns. Next up, it is Justice League of America, Volume 2, The Lightning Saga. You were thinking, wait, what does that do with the JSA? Well, there's a good reason for that. Let me show you the special cover they have for this thing. Now, this book, believe it or not, of course, this is a crossover between Justice League America Volume 2 and Justice League America Volume 3. The Justice League issues are written by Brad Meltzer. Of course, the JSA issues are written by Jeff Johns, with artwork by several different artists on here. Like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of them. You have Shane Davis, Fran Perrin, Ed Baines, Dale Eggleston, Eric Wright, Gene Ha. And that's it. Now, I should point out, though, about a little bit of backstory about this thing. Now, for what I've read, this is actually technically the first time that JSA and the JLA have teamed up with each other since when the time the storyline came out. This is the first time since the 80s. Like, the last time they officially teamed up was actually just prior to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Also, and this is quite interesting though, there was actually a planned team up with these two teams back in the 90s. But the reason why it never happened was because Justice League America, which had a comic in the 90s, got canceled after 10 issues because one of the editors, because it was a stupid editor who hated the book featuring old people, thought that wouldn't sell. It's a frickin' JSA. Lucky enough, Jeff Johns and James Robinson proved this man was an idiot for canceling this book. Now, that book was actually not terrible. It was nothing but right from our home. It was a pretty good book. I mean, thanks to this book, we found out that Jesse, the character of Liberty Lawrence, that pretty much found out that the original Liberty Bell and Johnny Quick, yeah, they got divorced. And this is also the same book that allowed Jesse Quick to join the JSA. Yep. Now, what's the whole purpose of this story? Pretty much the story is just Return of the Legion of Superheroes. Yep. The Legion of Superheroes. Something Jeff Johns actually did recently, bring about elements of Return of the Legion of Superheroes, but the rumor is that he was going to do it. But for some reason, Bendis, like, okay, can I do it? And can I do a page of Superman? John's like, sure, whatever. And he did. Yep. Yeah, this brings about a new version of Legion superheroes. Now they have references to the classic Legion superhero stuff. Like they mention here, this is of course going to be mentioning what happened with Lightning Lad. He was killed by the alien invasion, his resurrection. They also mention when he first met the Legion. Like tons of nods to classic Silver Age Legion stories. Fantastic. Love the fact Jeff Johns and Brian Meltzer brought that up. Yep, and yeah, this is great. And the two teams work well together. That's one thing I think Jeff Johns probably told Brad Meltzer. Despite the fact the guy is known for being a conspiracy theorist and have his own strange stuff, he probably told Meltzer, can you please make sure that these two teams actually get along because these two teams do know each other? He's like, okay. Or, I'm not sure how the meeting went down between these two. I'm sure John's probably told him, hey, he probably like, hey Brad, yes Jeff, I'm gonna do a team up. I want to do a crossover between my book and your book. Can you work a way to find a way we can do this crossover? Like, sure. What's the story called? Lightning Saga. And we're gonna do Return to Legion Superheroes. Cool. I'm in. That's probably what happened. I'm just exaggerating, but who knows how this storyline came about. Now, Linkara himself actually mentioned the storyline when he talked about the series Countdown, which, by the way, there is a plot thread in here that's actually full up in Countdown that gets somewhat not resolved by the time you finish reading Countdown. Countdown is an awful series. Yeah, and here's the thing, for what I've heard about that one, that was a series that apparently Dan Deal pushed for, and apparently the editor, whoever the editor was supposed to be for that book, was basically basically just approved a bunch of stuff that wasn't continuity based. Yep. Of course, there's a mention here about 52, which basically that was a series I think was being published at this point. It was a maxi series, lasted for an entire year. I highly recommend it. It's a great series. And yep, of course, they basically find various people, like they find Dream Girl, and of course, I love the whole interaction between Starman and Batman, where he knows, like, of course, I think Black Lightning is like, I think it was I don't remember who he teamed up with. Yeah, I think it was Sandman he was teamed up with, and you know everything. Yeah, I do. And he mentions, though, like, this is a man with no face going after my Dream Girl, and Batman's like, that must be Dr. Destiny. And Jim Gordon pops up in here because why not? It's Gotham City. Why not feature Commissioner Gordon? Yep. And one of his rare appearances outside of the Bat books. Yeah, that's something interesting, though, about Jim Gordon, is that over the years, since his debut, the guy's appearances outside of the main Bat books has been rare. Like, oh my god, it has been so rare of an appearance. Yeah, the only way he'll show up in a comic book that's not a Batman family title is if basically the characters come to Gotham City. That's pretty much the only way possible. Yep. And they find Dream Girl. They also find Timberwolf, Karate Kid, Wildfire. In case you're wondering, he is not one of the original superheroes. He showed up back in the 70s. He joined when Conway was in the book. Yeah, he was a guy wearing a full suit because of the energy inside of him. He's also sort of a living weapon. Yep. And we also see Dawnstar. Yeah, she shows up in here as well. Because why not? A character meant for fan service. Yep. Now, Dream Girl is not a character you probably would expect to show for lead superheroes. Surprisingly, Brainiac 5 is mentioned. But for some reason, they don't bring up... They mention Cosmic Boy and Saturn Girl. They mention them, but no appearances by them at all. Yep. And what was the whole purpose of this story? What was the whole lightning bolt thing? To bring back Wally West. Yep. Bring back Wally West. To bring back his own self-titled series. Yeah, bring it back and... well, have Mark Waid take over as a brief writer for the book, featuring a storyline him and his kids who become speedsters. Yep. Now, my friend Timmy loves the West Family. He's just basically, because he kind of grew up reading basically these stories, despite the fact he's younger than I am, but he loves those freaking stories. Yep. And, well, there's also appearance in here by, of all people, the Ultra Humanite. They also appearance by Computer. That was awesome, because that's a classic character for the lead superheroes. I remember it was Ultra Humanite, and I think it was like a couple other villains show up in here as well. Yeah, they even have appearance from the Gorilla City. That was amazing. hmm Oh yeah, and they also mentioned the whole. Okay, here it is. We have Ultra Humanite, Pat Diggington. He's a classic JSA villain, and Despero. I mean, look at these three characters. Two of whom are classic JSA villains, Pat Diggington and of course the Ultra Humanite. Two classic JSA villains. So, fun fact about the Ultra Humanite: he was originally a Superman villain. That is not a joke. He seriously was. He was an enemy of the Golden Age Superman. Yes, he seriously was. A guy who spent a lot of the time possessing the body of a woman. For some reason, I have no idea why. Eventually, he's like, screw that. I'm taking over the body of a superpowered ape. And this has been his look ever since then. I like this look better than the crap look that they basically gave him in that story arc that came right after the events of Doomed. Yeah, I know what Ultra Humanite looks like, and that's not Ultra Humanite. That's a creature who claimed to be the Ultra Humanite. Yeah, and the whole thing with Despero. Yeah, classic JSA villain. He was actually the first villain they fought when their ongoing series first started back in 1960. Yeah, in the first issue of the ongoing series, he was the first villain they fought. And here's kind of the strange thing about this. With the exception of a couple of times this guy has shown up, I don't know if it's really true, and it's just a theory I've had for years. Anytime he shows up, Martian Manhunter has to be in the issue for some strange reason. Yeah, but this is one of those rare occasions where no Martian Manhunter. Of course, they also go to Thanagar to find Dawnstar. And this, in my opinion, is a great story. They also have a good little nod to, well, Black Lightning and Our Man basically have a conversation like, thanks for the snowboards for my wedding. It's like, sure. And the melting hourglass, that's my student spade. Oh yeah, and he also said the snowboards was actually Alan's suggestion. Why not? Great. I like the fact these two teams get along with each other. And probably the dumbest thing about this particular storyline, and even I agree with this opinion about this. Now, Karate Kid, a guy who's got no powers, he's probably the only member of lead superheroes who actually has no powers. He just good martial arts. He's about to return home, and all of a sudden he has to stop because he contract. Because they'll explain here, the reason why they stopped him is because he contracted a virus that apparently has got no cure in the future. Which, when I heard it, I'm like, really? That's the reason why? The book itself doesn't bother explain it. Yeah. Of course, if you wonder what happened to him, he died in Countdown of this disease. That they could easily, they could bring it to the future, quarantine him, and develop a freaking cure. They have heavily advanced technology. But no, we don't care to do that for some stupid reason. I have no idea why. Yeah. Oh, in case you're wondering, does this lead to Return of Lead Superheroes? It does. Well, yeah. They say this is the espionage squad. Like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. But this storyline is good, with the exception of that stupid plot thread at the very end that gets not much developed with. This is a great story. And, of course, Diana and I think it's Hawkman saying, say him next year? It's like, sure. They also have this thing where apparently Power Girl and Hawkman are a couple. I'm like, when the heck did that happen? Yeah, apparently they show a flashback of them making out. They also have a Monitor issue where, apparently there's this funny thing here where Red Tornado walks in the aftermath where Red Arrow and Hawkgirl had sex. I am not kidding about that. That seriously happened. And we also have this adorable moment where Roy brings his daughter on board, and She meets up with Hawkgirl. She says, "You have pretty wings." He's like, "Thank you." And I love the fact that the way that this issue was written is the fact that Leanne and Hawkgirl get along really well. Leanne, now, I think that. Now, here's the thing. Hawkgirl, just prior to her meeting Roy's adorable little girl, she was surprised he had a daughter. And then he meets her, she's like any person meets adorable, like, "Oh, you're so, like, so cute." And the fact these two got along really well, I love the fact they did that. Yeah, the whole Monitor issue is actually really good. The last issue is pretty much like kind of the history of the Trinity involving them with the Justice League. It's a great issue, and it's a great thing to have in this trade. And it's issue 0. Yeah, in case you're wondering what's in this trade, we have, well, Justice League America Volume 2, issues 0 and 8 through 12, and Justice League America Volume 3, issues 5 and 6. Yeah. Fantastic trade. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Did not like what happened with the ending with the Legion of Superheroes, but it's an overall really good story. And here's the thing. What happens to JS next? Kingdom Come, which was hinted at here. They also hinted at 52 and a bunch of other stuff, which that's Jeff Johns for you. Set up for future storylines that will indeed happen. Yes. That's one thing you can praise about Jeff Johns. When he sets up a storyline, it actually happens. Not a lot of writers can actually do that. I would say another writer who's good at doing that is James Robinson. Yeah, he did if you read the Starman book, that basically was up so well. There's not many writers who can do that with their run where they set up stuff and they actually build on later. Yeah, that's called plot development. Yeah, not many writers can do that, but Jeff Johns is one of those writers who actually can do that. And by the way, in case you're wondering, did he do his Teen Titans run? Not that I could think of, no, but he did some stuff basically mentioned later. Yeah, but what about his Flash run? His Flash run was just pretty amazing. It didn't really have anything to set for future storylines. Not really, no, but it's all really good stuff for Jeff Johns does. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next view, back to Sword of Aurora, talking about episodes 4 through 6. Yep, for next video. Bye.